Do we love them because they're bad, or because being bad just looks so good on them? Welcome back, Nerd Squad. I am your host, Amanda McKnight, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 hottest X-Men villains part 2. And if you missed out on our part 1 to this list, you'll want to check it out after for even more super bad, super hotties, who will make our second extended cut. Let's get counting and find out. Number 10, Danger. I don't know if it's weird that I find Danger attractive, but as I said on part 1 of this list, cyborgs, robots, androids, and synthezoids all deserve love too, in my opinion. Danger as a sentient AI may be more than most, after how she was treated by Professor X, who basically ignored her sentience so that he could keep using her as a training room for his X-Men. Not cool, Charles, not cool. Sure, she rose up and attempted to destroy the X-Men in revenge, and was pretty successful at battling them, at least at first, but I also can't help but feel that she was kind of justified in her villainy, especially when it came to her attempts to do harm to the Professor, who also was exiled at the time basically because of all the things that he'd done that had come to light. Number 9, Spiral. Spiral is awesome and hot because, well, she's a badass. She was originally a stunt woman known as Ricochet Rita, who met Longshot and got swept up in a temporal paradox, which was basically what led her to becoming her future self, the same future self who would end up attacking her. Temporal paradox. Her story is also actually kinda sad, considering that her love for Longshot was what ended up getting her imprisoned, and then Longshot's mind was also wiped entirely of her. That's pretty sad. Harsh. Spiral ended up being heavily mentally and physically modified and turned into one of Mojo's loyal goons. Poor Rita. Spiral also just has a lot going on, and there is a lot about her that one could love. She's a very experienced and skilled fighter, she's jacked and has multiple arms, so she's really jacked, and she can cast spells via specific movements. However, she typically needs all of her arms to be free in order to be fully able to cast spells, as generally their motion and through dance is how she's able to do so. And friends, before we move on to this next spot, if you are loving this list and you want more hot X-Men villains, so many, be sure to let us know by giving this video a thumbs up. All the hot X-Men villains. Number 8, Azazel. Azazel is Nightcrawler's demon mutant daddy, who is considered hot enough by Mystique for her to sleep with, have the child of, and even potentially fall in love with. Romance. Yeah, that's right, in case you didn't know or you forgot, Mystique is also Nightcrawler's birth mom. Azazel claimed to be one of the oldest mutants in existence, and is also at times claimed to be Satan, or at least someone who is once in running to become Satan. He and his kind, mutant demons known as the Neophem, actually found themselves trapped in the Brimstone dimension, the dimension that Kurt Wagner travels through when teleporting with a BAMF. Azazel making babies like Kurt was actually all part of a long con plan to help him escape the Brimstone dimension, as he planned to use his children from Earth to build a sort of gateway out of there. Sort of Earth Kid bridge, I guess. It's kind of what he's trying to do, through sacrificing them. It really depends on what you're into, I suppose, but I know a lot of people find the devil and just demons in general pretty hot, both literally and also literally, I guess. Would we consider that even metaphorically? Not really. They're hot and they're hot. Number 7, Apocalypse. I mean, Apocalypse when it comes to X-Men villains is known for being one of the most unstoppable, and just for that reason we should bow down and worship the hotness of or however we're supposed to say his new Krakoan name. I don't speak Krakoan, but I'm trying. I'm really trying, Apocalypse. Apocalypse is a hottie because of how capable and ruthless he is. He is inevitable, he is often undefeatable, and he is all-powerful. Apocalypse also generally is always operating from the bigger picture perspective. He has big plans, and who doesn't like someone who has that level of ambition? We all would want to rule as the queen by his side, no? But it turns out that that seat is already taken, sadly. But that's okay, Genesis is also another hottie. Another villain hottie. Number 6, Candra. Like many villains who have come before and after her, I think a big part of Candra's appeal is power. Why are we attracted to power? Well, because I think along with power comes a certain kind or level of confidence. At least it appears people who have power are generally confident, whether or not they feel that way. Something about that confidence, power, and dominant energy makes us feel safe, even when we actually might be in peril, because these are villains who might be threatening us. And generally, if you wind up tangoing with Candra, you'll likely end up in peril at some point. At least that is what happened with Gambit in his miniseries. He and Candra used to kinda be an item, but that didn't mean much when she felt he had betrayed her, and when Gambit found out what Candra was really up to and how she'd actually been pitting the Thieves Guild and Assassins Guild of New Orleans against each other for years, basically creating their feud. Number 5. Shinobi Shaw. Shinobi Shaw is the son of Sebastian Shaw. Well, Sebastian Shaw I don't think will ever make my cut for hottest X-Men villains. Sorry, Sebastian. Shinobi is a cutie that I think deserves a spot. Shinobi Shaw didn't really start out as a villain, but seemed to become obsessed with inheriting all his father's power. He believed at one point to have killed Sebastian, and took his seat at the Hellfire Club and all of his connections for himself. During this time, he attempted to recruit Angel and Psylocke as members of the Hellfire Club's inner circle, but he failed. Later on, it was revealed Sebastian Shaw lived, and he returned to kill Shinobi, who was then resurrected, died again taking his own life, and later was resurrected on Krakoa once more. And I think that's it. He isn't really a villain in the current continuity, but that doesn't mean that he can't end up as one again. Although I do like him just being a nice guy. That's also good too. I wish he could just be a nice guy and be a villain. Oh wait, I feel like you can do that. You can do both. Number 4. Dark Phoenix. Dark Phoenix is one of the baddest of the bad, but hey, I love her, you love her, and you know, we can't help it, because although she can destroy entire planets, she is still ultimately a hottie. And not only that, she represents someone who is identified as being inherently good turning bad, which for some reason makes her more attractive when it comes to her evilness. The Dark Phoenix was initially explained as being Jean Grey, who had bonded with the Phoenix Force, became the Phoenix, and then became corrupted and turned dark. In reality, it was a little more complicated than that. It wasn't really Jean, and it was like the Phoenix made a copy of her, kinda was her. But the major appeal here, let's just ignore all that confusing continuity, does have to do with the basic narrative. Somebody good turning bad. The idea of someone becoming so powerful that they give into that power and kinda become corrupted by it. It's kinda weirdly sexy. I guess because power is kinda sexy? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Number 3. Magneto. Magneto is obviously one of the hottest guys around in comics. The weirdest thing is, I'm not really sure what it is about him that makes him so attractive to so many of us. I mean, I guess Eric Lencher, like so many comic book characters, is very built, so physically there's that. If that's of course what you're into, like I think so many people are. For me, I think the charm of Magneto is just in his seriousness. I would just want to see him smile because he is typically such a strict, serious, and imposing figure. And then I suppose there is also a sense of fairness, and even a kindness to him that I expect many find appealing. Also, he's got great hair. Number 2. Revenant Storm. Revenant Storm was not in fact the real Storm, which is why she ranks only second on this list. However, she is a version of Storm, albeit one that is evil and that exists on the astral plane. We first met Revenant Storm in 2013's Uncanny X-Force issue number 10. Here we also learn that these Revenants that we meet, who appear to be copies of mutant heroes, actually exist for every sapient being on planet Earth. Basically, it turns out that Revenants are like a form of Mumadrai, which are beings who represent the anti-self that must be defeated prior to a person's birth, according to the Shi'ar and their mythos. Why is Revenant Storm so hot? Well, because she's an evil version of freaking Aurora Monroe. Also, that outfit though. Basically, anytime Storm is evil, or anytime Storm isn't evil, I think Storm is hot. That's how it goes. Next time we will have Vampire Storm. Bloodstorm. Number 1. Emma Frost. Emma is admittedly more of a hero now, but for a while before she turned to the side of good and joined the X-Men, she was known as an ally and member of the Hellfire Club, and an X-Men villain. Remember when she swapped bodies with Storm? Yeah, not cool, Emma. And the feud of those two has kind of carried on in the comics even today. Although in Krakoa both women are of course trying to move forward, and even have worked together as members and allies of the Marauders. Emma Frost is sexy, I think, because of how confident she is. At least that's what's really made me come around to falling in love with her. She is smart, confident, and really doesn't worry too much about what others think of her. Also, all those Hellfire Gala outfits, like damn! Emma was the best dressed at the Hellfire Gala. If you don't agree with me, we're gonna have to fight. Who do you think are some of the hottest X-Men villains around? Is there anyone else that you still feel needs some love on a potential part 3 of this list? What X-Men villain plots have been your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of comments, it is time to turn to some comments from one of our latest videos, Top 10 Hottest X-Men Villains, the part 1 to this part 2. Matt Chu asks, when are you going to do a Mystique cosplay, Amanda? Also, that was a cool list. Man, that is a lot of body paint, so I think I'm going to do it right after my Cheetah cosplay, which will also be a lot of body paint. Michael Ross requests, give us a part 2, Amanda McKnight, bring on the hotness. Well, you speak it and it is manifested. We have brought you the part 2, and now who wants a part 3? That's the question. Some famous dude comments, Amanda, lipstick always on point. Stay nerdy, Amanda. Oh, thank you so much. I think I was wearing like a green lipstick for that one too. It was like a green or bluish lipstick. I never get to wear that color, so I'm glad you appreciated it. It's kind of a weird one. And that's all the time we have for comments today. Be sure to comment below for a chance to have your thoughts and feels shouted out in a future video. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you as always to stay nerdy, YouTube.